Hey, mess makers. Before we dive into today's episode, I just wanted to take a moment to personally invite you to join the Messy mailing list. This is where I will be dropping exclusive content, including tools, sneak peeks on what's coming up, and I want to hear from you guys. So if you have any questions or thoughts, this is your way to get interactive with me and with Inside Out. So make sure you head over to the show notes to sign up, and I'm super excited to get messy with you guys. All right, back to the episode. Welcome to the Inside Out podcast. I'm your host, Jojo, and this is where we will navigate the mess together. That is mental, emotional, and spiritual. Let's get into it. Hey everyone, welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. Before we get into today's topic, I just want to invite you to pause, take a beat, and think about 3 people that you could send this episode to that might be going through this. So while you're listening to this episode, think of those 3 people that might be going through this exact same situation that you could enlighten them with or just bring them into this journey. So I wanted to share something that I actually saw on social media the other day. And it was a tweet. It was a screenshot that someone reposted on their story. And it says, I heard someone say this and it blew my mind. Buy land in secret. Build the house in secret. Then do the housewarming party with publicity. Date in secret. Propose in private. Then marry in front of a crowd. Let your haters only see your reality, never your vision, or you will have division. In the game of chess, you don't speak, you act. The only time you ever speak in chess is to say checkmate. Life is like chess. Don't broadcast your intentions. Act quietly. Keep achieving. Your achievements are your checkmate. Now, when I read this, it reminded me of something that I've learned in Kabbalah over the years, and it's all about concealment and how keeping things that are personal and close to the chest keeps away evil eye, it protects you, and it lets you really understand your process and your purpose in it. And it removes ego from it, and it's all driven by soul. Now, I think this is pretty paramount to the topic of alignment right now, because even in the conversations and the people that are in my life and the people I'm around, there's insane shifts that are happening on a personal level, and even if we zoom out on a global scale. And I think this concept of concealment and not letting people know everything about your life until there's actualized achievement is really important. And so I want to dive into that because I think there's power in moving in silence. And when you keep your mouth shut and you just do, more can happen. And even when, for instance, with this podcast, I didn't tell a lot of people at all. I one day just launched it and people were like, wait, what? No idea. It's because I didn't want the negativity. I didn't want people's doubts. I didn't want anyone else's fears. I didn't want anything like that projected onto my reality. And I didn't want it to stop me from creating. And also, the same thing happened when I went into aviation. Not many people knew about it. A few did, but I didn't fully talk about it until I was doing it. Think about when a child's conceived. People don't talk about their pregnancy until the 2nd trimester, typically, because there's so much that can happen in the 1st trimester that can go wrong, and a lot of evil eye, again, judgment, negativity can be projected onto that child or that couple or whatever. And I think it's just way more powerful when you move in silence. I think there's an urge to announce certain things. We want to just, oh my gosh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And we share things before they're solid, before they're concrete. And I want to invite us to sort of pause and maybe think about why we do that, because honestly, it might be ego-driven validation versus, soul-driven creation. And that can be brought into like the social media and comparison culture. And we want to be posting things so people think we're doing stuff or know that we're doing stuff, and we seem, successful or whatever that narrative is. And in reality, the people that are the quietest and that don't talk are actually the people that you're like, wait, what? All of these things are brewing under the surface. All of these things are being created. And the Kabbalistic perspective of this is that concealment really creates protection, because there's a germination phase, which, if you guys don't know what that means, it means things need darkness to grow. When you think about a seed, when you plant a seed, you don't see what's happening to the roots. It's in the soil. And this goes back to even just my episode, Roots Before Romance. Like, if you are creating roots with someone or in a business, if there's not a strong foundation, then nothing can be built on that. You can't just stick a rose in soil and expect it to grow. It's just not how it works. You have to put a seed in, you have to cultivate the seed, you have to grow the seed has to create the roots, then you start to see the sprouts, then things start to come to fruition, and then whatever that seed is, if it's a tomato bush or a full-grown oak tree, that takes time. But it's not immediate, and we don't see what's happening below the surface. And that's the beautiful thing about creation and concealment, because not everyone needs to be invited into our energetic field when we're creating. If you think about other people's thoughts and their perspectives on certain things, that could even bog you down and stop you from moving in a certain way, or make you think twice about, well, is this good enough? Who cares what anyone else thinks? Just move on what you want. And I think there is a cost of oversharing, because it creates energetic leaks. We're inviting doubt, like I just said. Then there's envy from people who maybe want that same narrative or want that same thing that we are creating. And there's also the projection, as I mentioned as well, that is and can be premature, or their fears or their process, or maybe they've done this before and they're like, oh, no, don't do that. I did that and it failed. Well, everyone has a different way in and way through things. So if you invite anyone else's perspective into your process, that's not your process anymore. You're giving away your energy and you're leaking. And also, it can disrupt your flow, because if you're trying to show everyone what you're doing, it's performative instead of aligning with like what you actually truly want to be doing. Now, to go back to the chess game, I think this is a really beautiful way to look at life, because as that tweet said, you only speak to say checkmate. Now, you might ask yourself, well, how do you know when it's time to say checkmate? How do you know when it's time to share what you've been working on? How do you know? Well, once you're moving in silence and you're creating in silence and you have something to reveal, the reality of that will reveal itself. Not your vision, but the reality that you've created is what you can put out into the world. So think about in your life where you need to create that sacred space, where you need to create that concealment, where you need to not be speaking about what's happening. Is it a budding relationship? Is it a pregnancy? Is it a job move? Is it maybe a promotion within a company that you're super excited that things are moving in a certain way, but you can't talk about it yet because things can crumble? Where are you most likely potentially going to jinx something? You know, when someone says, oh, I spoke too soon, I totally jinxed it. It happens. It totally happens. You're like, oh, this is going to happen. And it's like, oh, shoot, I jinxed it. We jinx ourselves by putting out certain information that isn't ready to be revealed. And instead, if we just hold that close, let it reveal itself over time, then there's something to talk about. Once things are actualized and put into motion, then you can talk about it. Then you're not going to jinx it because it's happening. It's not just a maybe, what if, knock on wood. So I just wanted to make this a very brief, very short episode because I think this is such a powerful tool that we can instill and bring into our lives. And I think it's something that we should practice. So let's address the mess mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So ask yourself, where am I leaking energy and sharing too soon? What area of your life? Maybe it's career. Emotionally, what you're building, are you doing that for approval or for alignment? Is it soul or is it ego? That's a tough one. That's a tough one to pull apart. And spiritually, ask yourself where in your life you really need that sacred space. So, as I said in the beginning, those 3 people that you're thinking about that you could send this to, do it. Send this to those 3 people. Where do they need to maybe close their mouth and put their head down and do the work? And here's a little mantra just to leave you with that I really like. Conceal with intention, create with devotion, and reveal when rooted. And with that, you guys know where to find me at _insideout.podcast. Don't forget to rate, review, again, share this episode with 3 people, and leave me a comment. I don't need to know where you are needing to create that sacred space in your life. That is for you to know, not for me to know. Just let me know that you're aligning with this episode and that these are concepts and topics that you want to ingrain and instill more into your own life. And with that, I'll see you all next week on Inside Out. Bye.